Hey book besties, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kyan and this is Kyan is Booked. Before we jump into all of the romance recs that I have for you guys today, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, please feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and be sure to like this video because we all love a good single parent romance, and I am super excited to chat with you guys about. I have 7 today that we're going to talk about, and these are the 7 most recent ones that I've read, and I'm just going to kind of give you an idea about what you're going to read about, maybe some of like my favorite scenes, but yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. So starting off strong, we have The Bluff by Devony Perry, and this is book 2 in the Calamity Montana series, and this follows Everly and Reese, and Reese is a local artist, and he owns the art studio in town, and Everly is kind of trying to find her way. So she's really good friends with our heroine from book 1, and they both go through like a really traumatic event in book 1, and so she leaves her life in Nashville and moves to Calamity, oh my goodness, to be close to her best friend, because she moves to marry her husband, right, her now husband. And so Everly is kind of lost, like she's staying up in the loft above one of her friends' cycling studios, Pilates studio, maybe, I think. And, you know, they meet up at the bar, because there's one bar in the small town. They meet up at the bar one night, and it kind of just goes from there. There's like these random hookups. It's Reese's daughter, and she is a teenager at this point in time. I believe she's 16, if I remember correctly. And she's a teenager, and Reese is really wanting some level of custody, but he has a background that is difficult for him. So Everly's like, hey, it'll probably help you, like, if we get married. And so this is like marriage of convenience, so that he can show that he's stable and he can manage a relationship and hopefully gain some like level of custody for his daughter. But as we all know, in a type of situation like that, especially in a romance book, we're gonna obviously have a happily ever after. And it really does become about, like, you know, Reese and his daughter's relationship, but also to like Everly, like building that relationship with his daughter and being there for her as her mom is kind of like spinning out of control. So I really enjoy this one. I give it 5 stars. It is not my favorite in the series overall, but it is definitely a good single parent romance. And if you love marriage of convenience at the same time, like, definitely recommend this one. And the other one that I don't own, that I just read for the first time, it's actually my first Lena Hendrix book, like in general, is One Look, and this follows Wyatt and Lark. And their meet cute is probably like the most interesting meet cute that I've probably ever read. And it's at a funeral. So, all right. The Kings and the Sullivans are steady beefing in this small town, right? So like you're either on the side of the Sullivans or you're on the side of the Kings, right? So Wyatt is a Sullivan, and he is one of the brothers, obviously. So there is a death, but it's a death of somebody who managed to like not play both sides, but like to be a part of both sides. And the aunts, the King aunt and the Sullivan aunt, pay Lark to come and like pretend to cry at his funeral and like kind of like juice up the rumors of like, oh my gosh, is she like his estranged daughter? Is she like his former fling? So there's all these like different stories that are like kind of happening or whatever. And when Wyatt finds out, he's like, why would you let somebody pay you to like come and cry at a funeral? Like, that's insane. And then we kind of flip over. This is a dual POV. And then we flip over to like Lark's point of view, and she does this because she's an actress and she's trying to gain like real world experience, and she builds like this character and this like background of the character and all this kind of stuff before she goes to these funerals, right? So she has these full characters that she goes and she acts out these funerals and like actually uses them, from my understanding, on her on her resume, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And then slowly, you know, Wyatt is the single dad in the scenario, and his daughter is like 2-3 years old, I think, and the mom just like doesn't want anything to do with her, right? And he is a college football coach in a D1 school. So there's like obviously a lot of pressure for that. So Lark they end up moving into the family farm, and then there's an apartment next to the family farm, and that's where Lark is staying. And do I think the aunt kind of has something to do with the two of them getting together? Oh, for sure. But it is just really cool because like she slowly kind of like infiltrates his life, but like in a very positive way. And his daughter absolutely loves her, and she slowly becomes like his assistant / nanny in this scenario. But then of course, obviously, like the relationship begins to build. Overall, it's like a really cute story, and I'm really kind of excited to continue on the series to see like how does it all shake out with the rivalry between the Sullivans and with the Kings. So I really enjoyed this one. It was definitely a great introduction to Lena Hendrix, and I can't wait to read more of hers. All right, so the final 5 that I have, I actually own the books, so I'm pretty excited. There are 2 of one author in here, but to be fair, I'm binging her backlist right now, and we'll start off with the first one. So this is from Here to Eternity, and this is by A.L. Jackson, and it's book 1 in her Moonlit Ridge series. And as I found this out when I was reading this, it is a spinoff from Redemption Hills, but I did read this book and the second book and then go back for Redemption Hills. So as far as my understanding is like you can read them out of order because that's what I did. Anyways, so this follows Charlie and this follows River. And there is a secret society type situation happening in this book. And the guys in this book, basically what they do is they help women and children get out of really bad domestic violence situations. And so they meet up. Charlie is on the run. She's running from some really bad things in her past right now. And she ends up in the same city. And she ends up being really good friends with his sister, Raven. And that's kind of like how they meet. But if you fast forward to the beginning of the book, there's actually a meet cute where she comes into his tattoo shop and she gets like a very, very personal tattoo. It's the first one she's ever had, but kind of like just as a reminder because she's going through, like I said, a very, very traumatic experience. And then he's got a little boy, and this little boy is so cute. Like, I know some people aren't like the biggest fans of kids in romances, but I think that men become infinitely more attractive when they're really good dads. And River's a great dad. Like, he loves his little boy, and Charlie and the little boy, like, they like really, really bond early on. And I can't remember the son's name right now, so my deepest apologies. And I can't give away the ending, but let me just tell you, like, buckle up. It is quite a ride. I absolutely too love like that once like River gives themselves over to like the relationship and like being with her, like how beautiful that aspect of it is as well. He's definitely like, I really enjoyed him, and I really enjoyed Charlie and River's story. And the really cool thing is I've read book 2, and like you definitely get to see them in it as well. So super cute. Definitely a situation where like he's gonna save her, but at the same time, like she does a really great job of saving herself. But it's kind of the first time that she's had people like rally around her and be there for her. So that's like one aspect too that I really love about this. Next up, we have In the Details by Julia Wolf. And I can't stop talking about this book, and I obviously had to get it into a recommendation video because I need everybody to read this because it is a dual single parent. So both Clara and Jake, so Jake is our male main character, and his daughter is 16, 17, and then Clara's daughter is 3. So both of them are single parents. Jake, his was just like a teenage relationship, obviously, and like they didn't work out, but they were really great co-parents. And then Clara's is a little bit more traumatizing, but that's something that you'll learn about in the book, so like I don't want to give too much of it away. So they begin the book by like going to this biker bar because they both like to ride motorcycles, going to the biker bar and like hooking up and stuff like that. And then by like a twist of fate, they meet in like their real life, and it becomes like not just these like really steamy hookups like in a hotel, but like, oh wow, like we're real people. And Clara's like a COO, I believe is her title. And he too is the same for like his company. So they're both like really high up in the companies, like both work like worth a lot of money, like they both have very like high powered jobs, and to like at the same time trying to manage like being parents as well. And there's one scene in here, and I will say it, it's like absolutely adorable. Jake is like an amazing hair braider. It's really funny because his the mom in the scenario of the daughter, she's like, yeah, I can't braid to like save anybody's life, but like Jake is a master at it. And there's this really cute scene where he braids like his daughter's hair, and then Clara's hair, and then her daughter's hair, and so they all have like matching braids, and it's like super adorable. So if you can't tell, like I absolutely love this book, and I think everybody needs to read it, and that means yes to you. All right, next up, I would be remiss if I don't have a Catherine Cowell's book in this, because Lawson is my favorite single dad that she's ever written, which is very bold because I think she writes single parents really well. But this is Ashes of You. This is book 5 in the Lost and Found series. Yeah, we had to write 5 books to get Lawson and Halston's Happily Ever After, but I think it worked out really well. So this is small town, this is romantic suspense. Lawson actually saves her life in the prologue, and so she's out in college and she gets lost. It's super cold outside, so like, you know, he goes out on a search and rescue mission and is able to find her. And this is 5 years later. She applies to be his nanny because he's got 3 boys and he's really struggling at home, obviously, because he's the sheriff of the town as well. So you have like sheriff, nanny. I wouldn't say it's second chance because obviously they didn't attempt to date or like weren't together in the beginning of the series. Like I wouldn't say it's second chance, but I do think it was like there was something like really beautiful about the fact that like he ends up saving her in the beginning, but like in the end they end up together, and then in a way like she ends up saving him as well because he's really struggling to like balance everything. He's not doing well balancing the the kids' schedules and like being there for them and helping them maintain, and he's drowning on all fronts, and he knows he is, and he like knows he needs the help. So I think this is really well done. I love the dynamic between Halston and the kids because I think that like in order to have a very successful single parent book or like a romance in general, like you have to have that relationship between that person and the kids. And I think the kids are really drawn to her because she kind of sees things differently and is not necessarily as overwhelmed as their dad is. And it was also really nice to kind of see like the relationships between him and his kids become stronger because like there isn't so much pressure on him. So I really love that. I love Lawson. Like I can't believe we had to wait 5 books for him, but like I also understand why he was the last one in the series because like perfection. So that's Ashes of You. And then, oh my gosh, one of my favorite single dads out there. So Reckless is book 4 in the Chestnut Springs series. This is Theo and Winter's book. This is my favorite in the Chestnut Springs series. Jasper and Sloane were my favorite, but there was really just something about this relationship that drew me in. And I wouldn't say it's like single parent in like the traditional sense. So there's a reason why Theo doesn't end up being there for Winter until he does. And I don't want to spoil that because I don't, okay, so I don't know if it says it. It doesn't say it on the back. Okay, so I don't want to spoil it for you. I think that I think their relationship is adorable. I think the way that Theo thinks, like how prickly Winter is, like it never bothers him, and he finds her so attractive, and her mind and just like her prickliness is like a part of who she is, and like he finds that like so attractive about her. And I love the fact that he doesn't look at her and like think about all the things that like he wants to change about her. Like he looks at her and goes like, wow, like I would be so lucky to have her in my life. And that really is like, in my opinion, like how he views it and how he kind of like approaches the situation. And like Theo is meant to be a girl dad, and it definitely shows like in this, like he's so cute with her and they're absolutely like adorable. And I really just love like how when he does come back and like Winter's willing to listen and they have that conversation and like it's a very positive conversation. I love how like they communicated and like what they're willing to do in order to make sure that their daughter has like a wonderful life. And I just think it's pure perfection. And if you haven't had a chance to meet Theo, I definitely recommend it. I recommend the entire series, but like if you want, like, I just love Theo. And I highly recommend, like, I understand you could read these as standalones, but I think you get something more when like you read the whole series and you really understand who Winter is and also who Theo is as well, because you meet both these characters in earlier books. All right, so I promised that we were gonna have 2 of these, and I actually just finished one a few days ago, and this is the, what do you call it? Traditionally published one. I actually got this one from Barnes & Noble the other day. I do absolutely love the male model covers, so there's a really good chance that I end up like maybe getting that one. But anyway, so this is Give Me a Reason by A.L. Jackson, and this is the first book in the Redemption Hill series. So I showed you the Moonlit first, and then this is Redemption Hill. So I've gone back, I've read the first book. This follows Trent, and this follows Eden. So Eden is the preacher's daughter. She works at the school, and she is his son's kindergarten teacher. But they meet because she shows up at Absolution, which is like the bar that he runs. And it's like a hardcore biker bar, if we're just going to be honest with each other. So he runs Absolution, and she shows up and she's like, hey, I need a job because the church and the school and everything like that is in trouble because her sister loves just a little too much, and she took all the money, right? So here they are in a situation of like, they need money, blah, blah, blah. So Trent's like, no, dude, like you can't work here. Number 1, I'm ridiculously attracted to you. That's just all in his head, right? And then number 2, like, you know, like this isn't the place for you. And she's like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, this is for family. Like, I have to do this. So they obviously meet as Gage's, that's his son's kindergarten teacher, and it's just this really beautiful story about 2 unlikely people. Like, Trent thinks like very, very low of himself, and he really does talk about how like he's trying to be better for his son, and he's trying to do all these things, and you know, at the end of the day, all that really matters is like his son's life and like keeping him safe, because he's running from demons, because him and his brothers have left the motorcycle gang, and they have settled in Redemption Hills, and they're trying to live their life, and they're trying to make sure that Gage can live a very safe life as well. So hang on just a second. Sorry, I thought somebody was knocking on my door. Anyways, so they're trying to make sure that Gage has like a very positive life. So it's him, his brother Judd, and then his brother Logan. And Eden obviously like meets him at Absolution, but then meets Gage the next day, and then Trent comes and picks him up from school. So like we made the connection there. So it is a very beautiful love story about Trent, who doesn't think he deserves anything in life, like nothing positive in life, and to Eden, who's also trying to heal from her own trauma, and like what that looks like between the 2 of them. And to say that like I'm obsessed with their love story is putting it mildly, because I really am. Like, it's a beautiful story. I love them as a couple. Oh my gosh, Trent is, just talking about it makes me want to reread it, but like, guys, I've really got to move on to the rest of the books in the series. But anyways, I highly recommend this one. It was a great start to the Redemption Hill series. I think there are 4 books in that series, and I'm really excited. Judd's book is next. But if you need a good single daddy in your life, I definitely recommend Trent, because he may feel some type of way about himself, but let me tell y'all, he is an amazing dad, and it's just perfection. So those are the 7 recommendations that I have for you for single parent romances. Let me know if you have any more recommendations. Drop them in the comment box below. I'm definitely in my single parent era right now, I would say. I don't know, I've just been picking them up. I'm really, really loving them. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will catch you in the next video. Bye.